Welcome to AM Best Audio.
In an ever-growing and evolving risk landscape, global business leaders are faced with an array of new and evolving challenges and concerns. In the U.S., several of those issues are top of mind for business leaders and are seen as the biggest risks or threats to their organizations over the next 24 months, including an economic turndown, infectious diseases, and the threat of accidental or intentional use of biological, chemical, or nuclear weapons, according to the World Economic Forum's 2023 Executive Opinion Survey. The survey, which gathered views from more than 11,000 global business executives on what they see as the biggest risks to doing business in G20 countries over the next 2 years, was conducted in partnership with Marsh McLennan and Zurich North America. I'm Lori Chortis for AMBest TV. And joining us now to discuss that and other findings from the survey is Jessica Balsam, Zurich Resilience Solutions Head of Climate Solutions at Zurich North America. Jessica, welcome. It's a pleasure to speak with you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Jessica, what are the 5 risks that business leaders believe will pose the biggest threat over the next 2 years, and what's driving those concerns?
Well, first, it's important to point out that this survey is global, and it was taken before the current Middle East conflict that is happening now. At Zurich North America, we are, of course, focused on the U.S. and Canada, and together those risks are economic downturn, infectious diseases, inflation, energy supply shortage, and extreme weather events. It's important to note that 4 of the top 5 are related to the economy. We've all lived through the inflation, and economists have warned recently of recession. We are tracking these, and we're seeing both going down. It is also impossible to ignore the extreme weather events that are happening. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration recently put out a report that said 25 weather and climate disasters exceeding $1 billion have happened so far in 2023. This is the most on record, and for context, the average is only 8.
So how did those top risks compare to what we've seen in prior years?
Well, the economy was still a top concern in both the US and Canada. In the US, we heard from leaders that the debt crisis and inflation were among the top, followed by geoeconomic confrontation, the cost of living crisis, and climate change. In Canada, they were the cost of living crisis, debt crises, inflation, climate change, and an asset bubble burst.
You talked about weather events and climate change. How is the existential threat of climate change and its impact on extreme weather events impacting business leaders doing business in G20 countries today and going forward?
The difference now we're seeing is that we are actually feeling and experiencing the effects of climate change now. We know from talking with our customers that leaders are preparing for the climate crisis and those climate-related risks. For example, one of our customers is a large hospitality company, and they came to us looking for help understanding their financial implications related to the climate crisis for both specific locations and what they can do to address those climate risks, as well as portfolio level assessments for their company. Regulators are also taking notice. In both Europe and the US, many companies will soon be required to disclose greenhouse gas emissions, as well as climate-related financial risks and opportunities. We expect this movement around climate preparedness to grow dramatically over time.
Customize your data experience. BestLink now offers an interactive company dashboard that provides company-level intelligence in a fast, user-friendly interface featuring interactive tables, charts, and Sparkline performance histories. Customize the dashboard tiles to prioritize the insurer ratings, data, and analytics that best support your workflow. AM Best. Our insight, your advantage.
So what can organizations do to assess, address, and mitigate those risks?
In the insurance industry, we have typically assessed risks based on past events. It's different when it comes to climate. Examples are the Texas freeze, Superstorm Sandy, and Hurricane Harvey. These all used to be rare events, but they're occurring much more frequently now. The good news is we're starting to develop a wealth of data to help us recognize and prepare for those climate-related risks. We can analyze both singular risks as well as what are called multifaceted perils, climate perils. We can look ahead 5 years, 20 years, and even out to 2100. I speak with leaders currently experiencing this climate crisis, and they're seeing it in their operations now. We are also seeing leaders come to us for help looking at transparency and disclosure, as well as being prepared for climate-related regulations. As with most things, knowledge is power. So identifying, quantifying, and cataloging the climate risks are keys to being prepared.
So, Jessica, what can insurers do to help insureds enhance their resilience to these and other potential shock events?
So at Zurich North America, we think of insurance as the last line of defense. Instead, we like to work with our customers to enhance resilience. For example, one of our customers has shipping ports all over the world. They came to us to help them understand their potential climate risks based on both data analysis as well as boots on the ground assessments. This specific company is looking forward to making targeted investments that will yield ROI for years to come. Other companies are coming to us for help with their climate-related financial disclosure requirements. Currently, these laws are in effect in Europe, and we expect the SEC in the US to release similar requirements in the future.
Is there a central theme that stands out from this year's survey findings, and what impact does that have on organizations' operations?
Obviously, economic risks are at the top of mind in both the US and Canada, and we know that this is true for businesses around the world. But the global economy is nothing if not dynamic. Economic risks will move up and down depending on the current state of the economy. And surveys like this one from the World Economic Forum have their finger on the pulse of the business community and are therefore an important barometer of risk. We do expect, and what we know will remain likely, is that the climate crisis will continue to be among the top 5 risks in years to come.
What was perhaps the most surprising finding from this year's survey?
I think we were surprised at the consistency. The top concerns are surprisingly similar from country to country and region to region. There are variations, but it does appear that business leaders across the globe are experiencing remarkably similar pain points.
Jessica, looking ahead, can we expect many of the top risks that business leaders now face to continue for some time, or do you see any evolving or new risks on the horizon that may pose significant threat to business executives, organizations in the coming years?
We're hearing from our customers about many things like supply chain risks, threats to cyber, and changes to business operations that will come with the deployment of artificial intelligence. As I've mentioned before, we expect risks associated with the climate crisis to remain a top concern as well. I do want to point out, though, that with every risk, there is an opportunity. We see new ways of working emerging within our customers, and we see companies coming together. They're bringing together departments like legal, sustainability, data analytics, and more to address the climate concerns. We're excited to work and innovate with these companies as we look forward to a collaborative 2024.
Jessica, this has been so informative. Thank you so much for speaking with us today.
Thank you so much.
That was Jessica Balsam, Zurich Resilience Solutions, Head of Climate Solutions at Zurich North America. For AM Best TV, I'm Lori Chortis.
Looking to get the attention of the insurance industry? We have the platforms to do just that. Whether it be AM Best TV, AM Best Audio, Best Review Magazine, or Best Day, find out more by contacting our Advertising Services Business Development Team at 908-882-1706.